Good evening, everyone. Hi, Bijane.
Hey, Dr. Houston, how you doing?
I am well. How are you?
Good, excited that I've been learning so much about the strong women for Women's History Month, living
Mm-hmm.
legends, people who have passed, but just great trailblazers in just creating change and positive impact for all. How about you? How's your month been going?
Oh, it's been going well. In the Real Academy, we have been doing a lot of the level setting with Black women in leaderships. We've
Ah,
talked about our series on the impact of Black women in leadership. So it's really been going great. Same here.
love that. Love that. And speaking of Black women, we have two amazing Black women authors tonight that I can't wait to introduce and present to everyone, especially in the spirit of it being March, Black Women's History Month. Black History Month was last week, and now it's last month.
Right.
Now it's Women's History Month. So I'm so excited about that. And also just want to welcome everybody to the power of collaboration, where we are connecting educators and parents to great resources. So I am Bijane Kareem, your grant guru, along with my co-host, Dr. Shika Houston, which she helps to um, help to connect businesses with schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we'll be doing tonight is featuring two amazing Black women in honor of Women History Month and having them to share out their journey to authorship, share any budding tips that they can offer. And we're going to also help them to position their resources, their materials, their books to educators and to parents because they have great resources. I'll also be able to share a little bit of strategy around how they can tap into grant funding that could help propel their readership, their impact, as well as their book sales. So I'm excited to get into that because we love helping authors and entrepreneurs connect to schools to get their books and innovations to where they are needed. So Dr. Houston, as you can see, she's busy, she's focused, she's helping to feed us through to various social media groups. So while she's doing that, I'm going to tell you all a little bit more about BK International Education Consultancy and our services before we bring up our guests, because I can't wait to get to that. Can't wait. So, as I mentioned, I am the executive director of BK International Education Consultancy, but I also consider myself an educator, an equity advocate, and I'm an author as well. And our social impact mission is really to increase student access to innovative education. And we do that by supporting the adults in kids' lives on STEM and STEAM education. Also, grant writing. How can you tap into funds to create those innovative learning environments, whether it's materials you need, whether it's flexible seating, whether it's curriculum, whether it's training, whatever that may be. I love to be able to help position school communities, nonprofit organizations to tap into funding to be able to do just that. And one thing that I don't think most people realize is that there is a large bucket of grant funds, actually $1 trillion that have been earmarked for 2023 to 2025 to help use for educational purposes to help accelerate learning as a result of the pandemic. Because we know there was learning loss, and we know there were a lot of impacts that came with the pandemic. And so, with that, and what I'm going to share tonight a little bit is how can we tap into those funds to connect educators, students, and families with these much needed tools um, that create positive outcomes for kids, as well as help teachers do their jobs well, right? So I am going to read the bios really quick or actually, should I pass it over to you, Dr. Houston? Are you ready, or do you
No,
want me
go
to read?
ahead with the bios.
Okay, so I'm going to read the bios of our two phenomenal women who will be joining us tonight, and then we'll pass it back over to Dr. Houston so she can introduce herself because you all have to hear what she does. You all, she wears many hats. Um, and then we'll get started with our program for tonight. So, first up, we have Tiffany. And let me tell you what's great about Tiffany. She is an elementary special education teacher. So, hats off to her just for having that role, right? Hats off to her.
Definitely.
She's also a business owner. She's an author. She's a mother of two young adults, and she represents the A. She's in Atlanta, Georgia, where I am as well. So, yay, representing the A. But Tiffany, she's originally actually from Brooklyn, New York, so representing up top. And she's passionate about spreading joy and positivity in her classroom. And when you meet her tonight, you'll see why. Her energy is infectious. Tiffany also created the brand Davion Blue. I want to make sure that I'm saying that right. She'll correct me if I say it wrong. Innovations to empower and motivate fellow educators as they cultivate young minds. So I want to make sure I'm putting respect on her organization's name. And also, Tiffany's motto is do what makes you happy and create joy for yourself. Oftentimes, I know we look for joy externally, but I love that that's her motto because essentially, do what makes you happy. Do follow your bliss, right? And when you find that you want to keep going and don't stop with the joy. Another great thing about Tiffany is that in 2014, she started her Teachers Wear Yellow on Monday campaign. And this initiative promotes joy and positivity among educators by having them wear something yellow every Monday of the school year. So I love that visual cue that she's connecting to bring people's joy and brighten up people's day. Because normally that happens when you see yellow, right? Unless you're at a traffic stop. And then our other guest that we're going to have is Janelle Jones, and she also is representing the A. She resides in Georgia with her spouse and two dogs, and she is an author. She's also a plus side model, y'all. Get it? Okay. She's a red carpet host and an inspiring actress, and she always has a passion. She's always had a passion for writing and helping others, especially through her words of affirmation, which inspired her to create journals. And I actually have one of her journals here. Let me see if I can get it right on camera. Boom, there we go. And so this one is titled Life is a Journey, Write, Believe, and Affirm. So she'll talk more about her journals. And essentially, she hopes that individuals find these journals encouraging and a way to express themselves through writing like she does, and hopes to inspire others to persist gracefully, even when in the greatest potential for success. So I'm excited about that. That was a mouthful, but I had to take some time and honor them for Women's History Month and all that they bring to the table. And you'll see why we are bringing them to the table for tonight. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Houston so she can introduce herself and get our show moving.
Yes, thank you, Bijane. I'm sorry I hit the wrong button and took
That's
you out.
okay. That's okay.
I've been known to add to our bloopers reel. But thank you for that introduction. I'm Dr. Shika Houston. I am the co-founder of Create and Educate. We have created a program, like Bijane stated, to help connect businesses, service providers, speakers, authors to more schools to help you do more business with schools. As school principals, my co-founder and I, we've been in education for about 40 years between the two of us. What we found was a lot of the things that were working and providing those real results that we needed for our students were not things that we traditionally had been provided in the school. We had to be intentional about going out and looking for culturally relevant literature, materials, speakers, people who could connect to our children, people who our students saw themselves in and could relate to those stories. And that is what provided them with empowerment and motivation. And we moved our schools 2 and 3 report card grade levels in 1 year, using a lot of the outside things that we were able to find. So we help other school leaders do the same thing. The people that we have on, we make sure that we pass their information on to schools and teachers that we're working with. But that representation is very important. But the modules that we have basically help people who are in business or trying to do business with schools determine, really kind of define themselves if they haven't already. It helps them with a media kit, that website that you'll need, that school leaders always vet people before they bring them into the building. So we kind of take you through that process of what they're looking for, trying to help you figure out what problem your book or your service or your speech is going to solve, because connecting yourself to solving problems really helps you get your foot in the door, a lot sooner, because you're helping the educators and the students out, and then connecting to those funding sources that a lot of people are not familiar with, in the school system. So we help you with that, aligning to the curriculum, when are the best times to get in, and also the biggest part is creating that email list for yourself, where most states have that information readily available for free. So, if you have not gotten that and you are someone that is interested in doing business with schools, we will be listing all of that information for you to, be able to do that. But it's also on our website, createandeducate.solutions. So, without further ado, we're going to bring up our ladies, Miss Tiffany and Miss Janelle. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome.
Hello, hello. Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Thank you all so much for joining us. And both of you are published authors. What a great accomplishment. That is, not something to be
Yay.
taken lightly. We have statistics on, especially, how few African Americans are actually published authors. So, kudos to you just for doing that.
Thank you.
So, just if you would, tell us a little bit about what was your inspiration for writing your book, and tell us about your book, and then just a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Tiffany, you want me to go first?
You can go first.
um, well, again, everybody, I'm Janelle. So me, when I started writing, I started, journaling at like I want to say about 11, 12. So started really early, and I found a lot of like relief in that, a way to express myself. So last year, I always told myself, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be an author. I'm gonna write my own book. I just didn't know what type of book, or what story it would tell. So last year, I just sat down and I was like, you know what, I really want to put together a journal for not just adults, but what about children? Because sometimes they have such a hard time communicating their feelings, or they don't know how to, really express it. So why not allow them to express it in a journal? And that inspiration came from the one I created for starting with the children was from my niece. So I know she had a lot of trouble, just challenges in school. So I always told her, just like, communicate. You can, if you can't communicate it, you can't write it out, let's figure it out in a journal. And so she sat next to me and we worked together on this journal, and it has affirmations in it so she can always look back on it, or they can always see, I am strong, I am enough. Just some of those are some of the affirmations that are in the journal, and that's what just inspired me. I think writing and just it's just a way of just therapy, self-help, and that's why I just wanted to create it and just put those journals out there for everyone.
I love that, Janelle,
I
and
love
you're
it.
right.
Yes,
Writing is so therapeutic. I do that myself.
yes,
When I'm upset about something and I need to tell somebody off who I can't tell, I write it down and put it in the shredder, but I've gotten it out.
I love that.
right.
And
But
That is
I'm
so
those,
true.
and I, and I'm so jealous that you started that at a young age, because it makes me think about having a diary, right? And
Yes,
mhm,
for me, I would always forget. Oh, I forgot to write in my diary every day, and I was like, this doesn't work. But as
yes,
an adult, I've released myself of having to do it daily, and just like you
yes,
said, Dr. Houston, you do it as needed. You
you
yes,
do it
do.
as needed. You do it
yes,
as needed.
And
yes,
with social and emotional learning. Hi, Miss Dot. How are you? That's those are strategies that we teach our students because a lot of students don't know how to express themselves or they don't know what to do with that bottled up anger. So we teach them to use journaling as a way to get those feelings out or deal with a certain emotion. And we even use another activity called the paper ball activity. A lot of children
Mm.
bring things to school with them that are heavy things, that they're dealing with that they're not ready to learn, with some of the things that they're dealing with. And so with the paper ball activity, we've taught them to write some of those things down,
Oh,
ball it up. They're not gone. We just putting them to the side right now.
yeah.
And then what we do is the teachers collect them with a just a plastic bag, but it gives the teacher some insight into what your students are actually dealing with because a lot of times these aren't things that they're going to verbalize to you, but at least you can read about them. So I
Oh,
love the journals. I love the fact that they have affirmations. That is something that definitely could be used in schools and with parents because
yeah.
sometimes parents come to us and they're not
Mm.
sure of what to do with certain things being expressed at home with their children. It's a
Mhm.
strategy that we can also say this can extend home as well.
It can absolutely, absolutely. So it's very important. Um, and I think the first page, when I gave her the journal when we got the printout, I wrote in her first page for her, and it was just a letter to her, just letting her know, I'm here for you. Always could feel, you could communicate your feelings. This is where it all, it can start. And that was just really a special time for me with me and my niece.
I
That
love
is awesome. Where can people find your journals?
Yes, so they can actually find. I have my link that's linked in both of my social media sites, which is the Godmother and Hey Nail. So it's my link tree, and it will take you straight to actually Amazon, and it'll take you the link there. And I have like four different journals there, and I'm also working on another one, so that one should be posted soon. And just
Okay.
stay tuned, everyone, so you'll see the newest addition to my journals that are out there. So definitely just look into the link tree, and they are on Amazon. You can look under Janelle Jones, and they're listed. My first one is the Life is a Journey, and then you have I Am Loved, which is the one for the affirmations for the kids, and then just kicking it. So it's just like, hey, okay, my journal. Let me get excited today. So yeah, you can find all those on Amazon.
Okay, and I've put in the comments the link for BK International. I'm putting one for um, conducting business with schools, and I'm going to put yours next.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So, Tiffany, while they're lighting up the chat, tell us about you, your inspiration for your book.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Tiffany. I'm an educator and a mom. Um, so I started writing books in July 2021. And the first book that I wrote it's called A Guide to a Hustle. I have it right here. So the reason why I wrote this book is because I um I love Instagram, and everyone always asks me, like, how do you hustle? Like, how do you do it all? And I'm like, so I'm always have to tell people, well, I do this, well, I do this. So then, I say, you know what? I'm going to write a book, and it's going to tell you about
God.
the guide to the hustle, like the motivation and dedication to start your own teacher business. So that was the first one. It was easy read, and that was in July 2021. So fast forward, um, July 2022 was a very emotional year for students all around the world, right? And especially in Georgia, at my school, we went back to school full time from online learning. And the students were nervous, excited, but most importantly, nervous about coming back to school and didn't know what to expect. Um, so I was like, well, it's going to be a great year. It's fifth grade. You guys, like the seniors in the building, we're going to do so many good things and, trying to get them pumped for fifth grade, right? Well, my niece, who was going to fifth grade at that time, was scared. She's in New York and she was scared. They were not returning back to school. And I was like, no, fifth grade is all things great in fifth grade, you know? And she's like, no, sorry, no. And I'm like, okay, listen, I'm going to write down everything that we do in fifth grade that's like amazing. So I just started writing down all the things that we were doing in fifth grade that was amazing to reassure her, right? And she was like, okay, okay. So when I was listening to Janelle, I'm like, wow, my niece was my inspiration as well, right? I was like, wow, that's cool. But anyway, so she was the inspiration behind my first book, which is called Nicole and the Fifth Grade Cheer. Sorry, Nicole and the Fifth Grade Death. And it talks all about Nicole, who's my niece. She's a picture of my niece. Her transition to fifth grade, and just having being nervous about starting a new grade, and all the things that she can expect that will happen in fifth grade that could ease her nervousness. And it's a cute, funny book because chairs are not supposed to talk, right? But the chair was in fifth grade before, years and years and years. So it's telling her all the good things that they've seen in fifth grade. So that was the first one that I wrote last year. And then this year I wrote another one, and it's called Because I See You, I See Me. And this one is like dear to my heart because it's a reflection of why I became a teacher, right? I became a teacher, so it's a tribute to Black teachers and students. I became a teacher because not a lot of people experience this, but all of my teachers from pre-K to eighth grade were Black and Caribbean descent. So
Wow.
I've never had a teacher that did not look like me or did not sound. My mother's from Guyana, did not sound like my mother. So that was a great experience, and I just wanted to um, show my admiration and just tribute this book to the teachers around the world who may look like me and the students who may have teachers that look like them and say, you know what, I want to be just like you when I grow up. That's the whole inspiration behind the book. And I wanted to inspire other teachers that right now it's a real rocky situation for teachers. A lot of people are leaving the field, and
No.
I'm like, no, we can't leave the field. The students need us, right? Because like 80% of the student population are Black and brown students. So who would they look up to if all of the teachers are leaving? So that was the inspiration behind this book, and that's it. That's me.
Well, well,
That
tell
is
us about your
awesome.
shirt too, though, because I'm seeing this big educator energy, and you
Ah,
definitely giving us the energy.
yes. So, okay, guys. So, the Avion Blue Innovation is my brand, and it started because hmm, yeah, I was having a bad year, right? I was having a bad school year, and I was uncertain of what I wanted to do. And I had this dream that, hey, Tiffany, just make a T-shirt. So I made a T-shirt. It just said hashtag teach, and that T-shirt poured into me when I was having a bad year, like I didn't want to continue. And because of that, it gave me like the motivation to keep going, keep going, keep going. And I just started coming up with all these original designs. This one, I wore this today because we have 7 more days until spring break, and I needed to bring and manifest that big energy,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm putting on this shirt and I'm manifesting that I had the biggest energy ever today because I have 7 more days until spring break.
All right.
I love it. We are on the countdown as well. But
Okay.
Tiffany, what a amazing story. So, did you attend school all in the States?
Yes, I attended school all in Brooklyn. I went to
Oh,
school
that
all
is
in Brooklyn.
awesome.
Yep.
You're right. That's very rare to have
Yes.
had all of your teachers be, African American or Caribbean descent. That is amazing.
hmm it was amazing, and I didn't realize how amazing it was
Hmm.
until like now, like 2 years ago
Hmm.
or 3 years ago, and I'm like, what? You didn't have? I only had one Black teacher, and I'm like, what?
Yep.
I had nine. Like my whole pre-K through eighth grade, I had Black teachers. I'm like, wow, that's weird.
And
And then they're like, wow. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a unicorn. Okay, I'm a unicorn.
my daughter, she's in fifth grade, and she has had some. It's rare a lot of times in elementary school to have male teachers, and she has had male teachers, but she has not have had any African American teachers, and she's the one who brought that to my attention.
Oh wow.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, so it matters. I mean, like you said, them being able to see themselves not just in the curriculum or in the
Mhm.
literature, but even in positions at the school, and not, just positions where, they need to be in leadership positions. They need to see themselves as well as the teaching positions, throughout the building, not just in certain levels of the position. So I love that you've shared that experience, and that you've written that book, because it does matter. It really does impact
Absolutely does.
children.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And speaking of impact, and if you were to drop one gem, one valuable tip to an aspiring educator or budding author, or entrepreneur, because you all wear so many hats just outside of being an author, right? What would be that gem or that nugget that you would want them to walk away with if it was just anything? What would that nugget be? That valuable tip?
Give yourself grace. I stick by that. I truly do. And that is in my journal. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. It's just start, you know, and you learn from each experience. And I'm sure Tiffany as well, like each book you write, or you learn from each book and different experience through your journey. So just give yourself grace while you are doing that.
I love that.
That is absolutely important. Grace.
Yes.
Um, my nugget would be like I always say, your story is not finished, so
Mm,
keep writing.
Ooh,
Right? It's not finished. And don't ever think that your story doesn't matter, because your story is your story and it does matter. And you may write something that you may not need right now, but if you journal it, you
yeah,
have it forever, and you never know when you may need that story. So
that's
keep writing.
that's right.
Both of those are really great tips. And one thing that I always share with the authors that we work with, or even small businesses that we've helped get contracts with schools, make sure you're treating what you do like a business. Some people
mm,
really get like, and writing a book, being a published author, BJ and I are both published authors. We have our books on our little bookshelves in our virtual background. But it is really exciting. It's really exhilarating. You feel very accomplished, but don't just treat it like, oh well, I got it done, and that's it. You have to market it. You
mhm,
have to advertise. You have to
mhm.
talk to people about it. You have to make sure that people know that it's out there, because when you're self-published, you have to do all of those things
That's right.
yourself.
You
So
do.
you really do have to treat it like a business, and that's one of
Mhm,
the things that we go over as well in our program.
mhm. And even when you go through a publisher, you still have to do those things, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I know for me, having been an educator, also an edupreneur, um, is that oftentimes I know we want to do things ourselves, right? But and spend our own money to do so. But there is money and funding out there to that could help support you write your next book or write your first book, right? Or help get your book into schools.
Yes.
Tiffany, I know you have those beautiful affirmations and teacher aspiring shirts. I know tons of schools that Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up and they buy things, teacher swag for teachers, right? It
Yes.
could easily be a grant that pays for that or a school that pays for that, right? So Dr. Houston's course would be great to help navigate because each state is different on how to get access to schools. Same thing for you, Janelle, with your journals. Journaling is not only just great for um, so in the grant world, I would connect your journalings with social emotional learning, right? But
Absolutely.
there's also journal, you have to do journals in science and for STEM and for other things. So there's cross-curricular connections that can be made with those journals. And same thing for your books too, as well, Tiffany. I love how culturally rich and I see diverse characters on the cover of those books. Oh my God. Dr. Houston talked about culturally relevant literacy.
Yes.
That is a thing, that's a real thing, and we need more of that thing in schools. And there's funding to help promote and support that, whether you want to add on curriculum to it if you don't have curriculum for your books already, right? There's tons of different ways. that you can help expand what you already have in terms of books so that you can treat it like a business and that you're not having to come out of pocket for. I know with our course, grant writing for educators, anybody who's an educator, and you two both are, because with your books, you are educating the masses, is that we show how you can take a simple lesson plan. If anybody has ever written a lesson plan and how that compares to a grant application, we walk you through side by side and how they're the same. We also walk you through where's the funding, where does the money reside, and how can I tap into it. We also show educators, readers, authors how to do that as well. And we also have a self-paced course, just like Dr. Houston. And quarterly, we also do instructor-led courses where we give that real-time feedback and that coaching to help you best position yourself so that you can tap into the funding, get your resources in front of educators, parents, whoever needed, because they're needed. They're definitely needed. They're definitely needed.
They are. And one thing about books and being a self-published author, the average publisher, the average author, the average book sells about less than 200 copies a lot of times. That's a little known
Mm.
fact. And then 1,000 copies over its lifetime. So
Mm.
having that extra revenue stream or connection to multiple schools really could help you sell lots of your books in bulk. And we show you how to do read alouds with students, the author's visits. So just getting you connected could really help open up a lot of different streams for your book, and then provided help to where we need the help because there's innovation that's really needed in schools. Kids are tired of the same old, and so are the teachers. We need some
Mhm.
new, innovative things that are actually helpful to students. And a lot of times that comes from people like you that are educators. You all know some of the problems that exist for children, or you were solving a problem for your niece. And those are the types of things that we need that children can readily connect to. And I just did a professional development with some teachers on writing, and there's actually science behind the fact that we need to have our children physically write more
Mm.
versus doing so much stuff on the computer. When they're
Mm.
typing things on the computer, computers are great, technology is great, but they're typing it verbatim. So it's not allowing them to process it. When you're writing it physically, it actually makes your brain process what you're hearing, because you have to
Mhm.
think about exactly what you're going to write down, because you can't get it all down when you're writing. You got to do
Mhm.
shorthand, you got to figure out some, what's important, what's not important. So it helps the child process it more. And when they process it more, they can remember it better versus they may get it on the computer typed, and they may not. Half the time they own other stuff, if we just gonna be honest.
Mhm. Mhm.
So having them physically write is something that we really need to get back to. So
Mhm.
I am a big proponent of having children write.
I love that. Well,
A- Any closing remarks? Thank you, ladies. Love what you're offering and the great tips that Bijane offered. Any other things that you would like to say before we close?
Just thank you for allowing, having the opportunity to be here. So, to be able to speak about our our books, and just, and to provide feedback to everyone who's also, trying to do the same thing or doing the same thing and just need a little bit of a push. So hopefully the give yourself grace, and the gems that Tiffany also stated. So thank you for just allowing us this opportunity.
Thank
And I
you
want
for
to say,
joining us.
and I want to say thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity today to speak about my journey and about the things that I love doing. It was fun. I had a great time. And thank you. Thank you so much. This
Yes,
is
thank
cool.
you.
thank you, sisters. Y'all keep doing what you're doing, especially making all the great history and trailblazing the way that you're doing, and being a part of that statistic that you're increasing the number of Black authors that's out, that narrative that's out there. So thank you. Thank you for your contribution for that, especially in light of Women's History Month.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Good night.
Good
Thank you
night.
all for joining us.